What up? What up? I am here to discuss the new Spider-Man episodes. Episodes 3, 4, and 5 dropped today. And oh my god, that is a lot to take in. I'll tell you that. I mean, if they were doing this episode by episode, oh my god, I wouldn't even it'd be hard to wait for the next one because each one you're kind of like, oh, what's gonna happen next? I mean, this is a Spider-Man world where it's completely new. This is a whole new Spider-Man with very much same characters, an old aesthetic with the whole comic book theme, but it's a whole new storyline in a more, especially one where we're kind of familiar with, because this is okay. Look, this is not the Tom Holland universe. This is not the MCU. This is not that. But when I tell you that this is not that far off from it, trust me. Like, the timeline of the MCU Spider-Man, that's right here. And the timeline of this show is literally right next to it. There's only very little things that are different, like obviously with the Tony Stark now being Norman Osborn, but like we still got, like, there's things that happen in the show where we're like, whoa, when did this happen? How did this happen? We kind of know how it happened. We know, like, the Sokovia Accords happen in this show, and there's the whole Peter, you should register. There's the whole Peter should register because of the Sokovia Accords, and we're like, all right, the Sokovia, and like they showed images of Civil War happening. So clearly that battle at the airport that happened in the MCU, that happened in the show too, just probably without Spider-Man. It makes you wonder what other heroes were probably there that are not in the MCU. Like maybe the Hulk and Thor was in that battle at the airport in this show, but not in the MCU. I'm really liking, the parallels between the show and the MCU, because it's like, all right, this show's dealing with issues that were issues in the MCU, but it's really good. Like that first episode was just not the first. Well, episode 3 being Peter have to trying to do things on his own, regardless of Norman Osborn finding out his secret identity. Peter wanted to do it on his own still, and he tried that. And he, at the end of the episode, he admitted that he did need a little bit more help. Like he needed some guidance, where Norman, agreed to help him, and then all that stuff. But episode 3, as opposed to like Spider-Man or Peter trying to like deal with Norman knowing his secret and whether or not he wants him to help him, episode 3, 4, and 5, I would say that is a trilogy of Lonnie Lincoln being a sweet kid to literally on the path to becoming, they said his name at the end of episode 5, which was Tombstone. And it is fucked up. It is literally fucked up. One, because first of all, I don't know Lonnie Lincoln's origin. Like, I don't know if, like, I feel like in the original or comic, whatever, he was just always in a gang, but he was at the bottom of the gang, as a henchman, and then worked his way up. In this show, he had a brother that was in that gang, and for him to not be in that gang, he said, take him out and take me instead. And I was just like, damn, yo, that's how we got hooked into it then. But even when he was in it, he didn't really care for it. He thought he was just, had to be there, because even when he was there, he tried to study. He still tried to do his schoolwork. and they basically said like, yo, don't do this bullshit here. So you really feel for the character as to why he had to kind of join the gang to protect his brother, and then you know doing these bullshit errands like he did for that he's doing for this big guy. Big Don is this guy, and you could tell that eventually either something's gonna happen to Big Don, or Lonnie Lincoln's just gonna be like, nah, man, you're not in charge, I'm in charge. But you slowly see him fucking around with Lonnie, making him do these bullshit errands, and then testing his loyalty basically, to the point where you know Lonnie had to be in a fight with this other gang, with Big Dong and his crew, the 110th Street Gang, I think it was called, or some shit like that. And you're just like, damn, y'all, like, because you see like him being appreciated after, like, yeah, this fight went down, and while this fight's going down, someone's trying to the other gang that they're fighting with is the Scorpion in his gang, Max Gargley, whatever, before he's a Scorpion. We're clearly seeing these villains before they become the villains they're meant to be. We're seeing Norman Osborn before he becomes the Green Goblin. We see Lonnie Lincoln before he becomes Tombstone. We're seeing Matt Gargan before he becomes the Scorpion, or the real Scorpion. You know what I mean? And we even get Doc Ock before he's Doc Ock, which, but yeah, we get Doc Ock, and the design, I am loving the fucking artwork out of this show. This is almost making the 90s animated Spider-Man look weird, but not weird, but like, this is almost topping that. But the design for Doc Ock is just fucking amazing. Like, that shit just look so good. Like, it's funny because when I saw his image and I expected him to speak, the voice that was going through my head was the version from the 90s Spider-Man show, because that voice for Doc Ock was like, oh, perfect.
Who am I? What's in a name? An octopus by any other name would still be as deadly.
And then I hear, I don't know, it just sounded off to me a little bit, his voice, and I was just like, all right, well, that would probably grow on me too. But yeah, there's a lot of villains in this that they show that are clearly gonna, they're on their way, because Spider-Man's also kind of getting his footing also. But back to Lonnie Lincoln, yeah, he saved Big Don's life. Everyone was appreciative of him. People were like, yeah, you're the man now. And he was actually feeling welcome now. He was actually feeling, welcome to be in the gang. That's where they gave him the name Tombstone. And you're just like, nah, man, like, it's bad. And he doesn't tell nobody. Clearly he has a girlfriend, Pearl, that, I feel like she's kind of worried about him. And he doesn't tell her. He's kind of embarrassed to tell her. But you kind of hope that it would work out, but where his path is going to go. She's going to get hurt. And yeah, it's really looking downhill from here on out for Lonnie. Even Norman Osborn, which is so weird to me that he knows Peter's secret. He's helping him out. This almost reminds me of the relationship Peter had with Doc Ock in the Spider-Man PS4 game, the PlayStation game. Like, they were like partners, helping each other out. Peter looked up to him, and to the point where he becomes the villain, and then Peter's like, you're almost like that father figure for me, thing. And I know that's where it's gonna go. And you see Norman Osborn as like a person trying to help Peter become a better Spider-Man, which I never really seen before, considering I never seen Norman Osborn know Peter's identity before he becomes the Green Goblin. So that's very, like, interesting. It's, these new routes that they're taking with this show is putting me on the edge a little bit, to be like, oh, what's gonna happen? Like, could this go a different way? But people's are destined to become who they are to be. More on Norman helping Peter. Like he's helping Peter become a better Spider-Man, helping him find his suit, which a lot of it was like the first one had a cape, and the first thing that went to my mind,
Nutcakes!
I mean, of course, like it never really works. So, and then he tried to use something else to make him fly, like some sort of like, I'm like, no, it's not working. And then there was the one girl who lost her balloon and Peter got it back. I don't know for how many of people that this clicked to them in their mind, but when that little girl said, "My balloon," like, tell me you did not think of the PS2 Spider-Man game, Spider-Man 2 on the PS2, where there's missions where a girl loses her balloon and you have to get it back, and sometimes you wouldn't give it back to her. Sometimes you pop that balloon. Sometimes you would get the balloon back for her, and it was just funny that they added that in there, even though he came in looking like a Batman character and scared the shit out of her. But that was a good thing to just that I heard in my mind and I thought of. And there was more. And you know what's funny thing is, Peter is so bad at keeping his secret that I think it was on that third episode that he just revealed it to Harry Osborn. And now I'm like, so now Harry and Norman both know that Peter is Spider-Man, and I mean, Harry, it could be different. Maybe Harry might not go down the Green Goblin route also, because he said, I could be the man at the desk, which is referring to guy in the chair, that Peter's friend says.
Guy in the chair.
In the MCU version, Ned. So hearing that, I'm like, oh, so he's going to be his guy in the chair with more money. So he's more, it's more better to be Harry, honestly, than Ned, because he has the money to like actually track him down and really help him out. So that would be cool. Harry finding out Peter's identity and being his guy in the chair that should be interesting to see in the future. And it's crazy how Peter is trying on all these new suits that Norman's given him, and the first one he recommended for Norman to make is the blue and red. Like, come on, that looks so like the drawing that he drew. I was like, yo, make that suit. And no, they make him a bunch of other ones until he finally finds the one that he feels somewhat right, which is I don't know what to call this suit. People were saying this was like the anti-venom suit or whatever, some bullshit like that, because of the white of the design basically. But it has some red in there, it still has like the red and blue in there, but very minimum. It's mostly all white, which is funny that him and Harry both said like, oh, I want it to be red and blue, kind of like Captain America. So like, that's fun that Peter wants the color of that original suit because of Captain America. So that's really awesome, and I just hope we get that suit eventually. But it was nice seeing more of the other character designs, like when he showed a clip of Ant-Man grabbing a War Machine. Like, you see Bucky, Captain America. It's like the old designs in like the new world, kind of, because you see like Captain America next to Iron Man in the news, and Iron Man has the the very old retro look, and it is. I'm just like, yeah, that's awesome. If only Spider-Man could look original. But yeah, there was a lot of that. The villains that Spider-Man fought in them, the third one was just regular criminals, I think. Yeah, and then in the fourth episode, he fought this Bonnie and Clyde, where they got the gears from Doc Ock. It was a mystery when they showed the symbol. They're like, clearly it's getting from this symbol. And they're getting the tech from Doc Ock. It was this Bonnie and Clyde duo. The dude had like these boots that made him go really fast, and the girl had the gloves that had like these laser, she looked like Baraka basically from Mortal Kombat. But yeah, though that duo seemed pretty awesome. That whole fight scene was pretty, very cool. The the style of this animation is making the fighting look really awesome too. I think it helps with the fighting and the action and all the web swinging and all that stuff. I'm still getting used to the webbing. I don't know how I feel about how the webbing looks for some reason. I don't know, but um, it's also kind of growing on me a little bit too. But I think that these characters that Spider-Man's fighting, very minimum criminals with good tech, I feel like is what he's going to be going up against, because I kind of want to see him fight, a character, a villain that we know, but I feel like we're not going to get that until later on, and I'm pretty sure it'll be more of a challenge for him than the criminals we see him fight so far. I mean, we kind of, and then in the fifth episode, we got like this Russian group, and they robbed the bank. That's when one of them bailed on them, and clearly buys the tech from Doc Ock, the same as the Bonnie and Clyde. And she got like a helmet, unicorn. It was kind of giving me the Rhino vibes. I mean, one of their teammates, one of their friends said like, "Oh, you look like a rhino," which is funny because like the episode was like named like Unicorn or some shit like that. So yeah, so that was pretty cool, especially the big guy. He I thought he was gonna eventually take it from her, and her fight scene, her fighting Spider-Man was so amazing. It was pretty dope. Spider-Man was actually almost outmatched by her, I think, at some points. Like, he technically would have lost if it wasn't for the dude that he saved. Which is funny, it's like Spider-Man would even save a criminal that she was gonna kill one of her own person, and Spider-Man jumped in front of him and saved him. And because he did that, the dude saved Spider-Man from basically dying. And there's no doubt that Spider-Man would have lost, but yeah, that was pretty awesome to see, especially because like Spider-Man was like trying so hard. One thing about this girl too is that she knows how to fight. Like, she has some crazy strength. I was like, yo, this I mean, she's like Russian or something, so I'm not surprised that she, looked the way, fought the way she did. Considering how strong she did look too. And then there's more with Peter Parker and Nico. How she, what's funny, their relationship is very like, it's like yeah, they kind of like understand each other, but it's almost like that Nico likes Peter Parker, maybe even, which is funny because like I said, she, but that would be something new and interesting that I wouldn't mind, because at the end of what episode was it? I forgot what episode it was, where Peter promised Nico that he go to the movies with her to see some sort of movie or whatever, and then she was excited to go with him, and then Harry ends up joining because now that he knows his identity, they got to be friends. And Harry explains how, because he's rich, he's homeschooled, his friends that are friends now are not real friends because he's rich. So they kind of make you feel bad a little bit for the rich kid, how yeah, it could be hard for someone to be super rich, I guess, like that, and have real friends, you know. So even though that when Peter brought Harry, it didn't seem like Nico was happy that he showed up. Maybe because it was last minute, or maybe because she wanted to spend some quality time with Peter because maybe she actually likes him. Who knows? That would be kind of interesting to see, you know, to see Peter and Nico have a relationship, maybe even. But yeah, that's like a, you know, the trio that that um that went down. That's like the trio now. That's instead of Harry, Peter, and MJ, it's like Harry, Peter, and Nico. Which is crazy how everyone's, you know, you see people slowly becoming the people who they're supposed to be, and I'm like, are we ever gonna see Nico like we see her clearly in a foster home. You know, she had her parent come in. She said she was, you know, her foster siblings or whatever, or some or thing, and it makes you wonder: is she already a runaway? You know, is her mom not in the picture because clearly her mom's evil, I guess. But you know, hopefully we'll figure out more on Nico or what they do with that, because honestly, I would like to see Nico become who she's supposed to be, but I don't know if she can only do that with the other members of the Runaways. So, but like I said, this is a whole new thing. You know, this is very interesting to see that how Peter is now in a new suit, definitely becoming a better Spider-Man. So yeah, I mean, these 3 episodes mostly focus on Lonnie. I feel like he was like the main thing. Like you see him in episode 3, innocent, trying to be there for his brother until he ends up being in his, you know, in his brother's place, and then in the 5th episode, he's struggling trying to be in that fucking gang, and then in the 6th episode where he has to prove his loyalty, and then he's finally accepted by the gang. So it's like, you know, you see him basically just lose everything. I mean, he's probably no longer on the football team anymore. His coach was on his ass, and he's probably going to lose his girl. You know, maybe Peter would try to do something to help him. Who knows? Other villains are are coming into the picture now. Doc Ock, Scorpion. You know, Norman's there. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with the next week. Where another 3 episodes, which I feel like they should drop 2 instead of 3, but you know, I feel like it's gonna just come and go so quick. But it's good. I think next week we might even get we might get Daredevil in there, hopefully. But I really like these 3 episodes. They were really good. I've noticed some. I didn't really talk on Aunt May that much. I like how she, you know, is there, how she's there for Peter most times. Uh, that was probably in the first 2 episodes, I think. And one thing I noticed about her voice is I was like, she kind of sounds very New York too. I feel like I was like, I'm hearing the voice. I was like, she sounds very new. She's got that New York accent. So I don't know. I really like that when they were talking about like Uncle Ben, I think. Um, and it's cool that he's using Uncle Ben's camera. I really like that. That this is still in a modern world, but he's still taking pictures on an old camera. That's how I like that. That's Uncle Ben's camera is why he's using it. That's that's really good. Um, I don't know what more to talk about. I could talk about how him being in that in the internship is very like here and there. I feel like not much is going on with that right now, other than people have noticed that Norman Osborn always wants to see him, and they just think of him being, you know, really smart, I guess. Which in his field, in that school, he's working on a new source of energy, not like Tony Stark's because he said that he patented that, but he's working on a way to use more energy, I guess, with magnets or whatever. And then Amadeus Cho was about to talk about his project, but we didn't get to hear that. So, but I'm really curious to know what he's working on because I don't know. He's I think like yeah. Norman said that out of those four, he suspected one of those to be Spider-Man because of how smart they are. But out of those four, I think Amadeus Cho would next to be as smart, as close to Peter Parker. Like all four of them are clearly geniuses, but yeah, I feel like he's really up there. I feel like so. I was curious to hear his project until they clearly cut it off, but everything else was good. I love the episodes. I love the artwork, animation. Everything was looking awesome. I want to see Peter and Harry's, friendship grow more, maybe with Nico too. I really want to see all three of them probably just hang out and have fun together, I guess. And I like how Peter's not always late all the time. I feel like in most variations of Spider-Man, Peter's always late. And it's always like because he's Spider-Man. But this one, it's like I almost thought he wasn't gonna make it in time for Nico at the theater. I was like, oh no, don't be that again. Always late for something. But then he showed up, and I was like, ah, this is a punctual Peter Parker. So yeah, episodes were great. I hope you guys watched them. I hope you liked it. I hope watched it before you saw this because clearly spoilers. But yeah, those episodes were really good. I really enjoyed them. And I'm looking forward to next week for 3 more episodes, and then the next week for the season finale. So until next week, I will see you then. Stay frosty.